Hi, I'm Coach Taylor, and guess what? I'm in the Warden's conference room. Yep, this is the Warden's conference room. And we talk a lot about programming. We talk a lot about our GOGI students. We actually ask our GOGI students what they think, but what we don't do is we don't talk to the captains on the yards about what they think about all of this. So guess what? We are in the Warden's conference room right now, and we are talking to the captains at High Desert State Prison about what is their perspective on all these changes with the prisons, and what is their opportunity, what are their responsibilities, what is the burden of having everybody programming. So stay tuned, stay right here. We're going to be talking to some captains of High Desert State Prison right now here in the Warden's conference room. Captain Grether, I'm so grateful. I know you're busy out on your yard. You've got a lot of things you're doing, so thank you for coming here and agreeing to answer some questions. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me here.
What is your yard?
I'm on Facility B.
On B yard?
Yes.
And how is B yard different from maybe another yard that you may have been assigned to?
I was previously on Charlie Yard, on C Yard, which is a level 4, 180 general population yard. It was EPF, and now it's just they get rid of the EPF program. So now Facility B is a level 4, 270 SNY. So that's the sensitive needs yard for the inmates that choose to try to program and do their own time and go home.
So these are guys that they want to go home. They want to program. They're putting a lot of stuff aside. They're saying, I'm done with the nonsense. I want to get my GED. I want to get out of here. I want to get a job. I want to be a good neighbor. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, what an awesome opportunity for you to have that.
Correct. Yeah.
So when you got to this yard coming from another one, were you surprised at the different programs that were offered? Or?
Well, I had been on Facility B as a lieutenant prior to promoting to captain and going over to Facility C. So it's definitely different than when I was over there in 2012.
Really? How so?
There wasn't the rehabilitation like there is now. We had very few. We just had some of the standard rehabilitative programs, and now there's so many. It's hard to keep track. It really is. There's so many programs.
And from a custody perspective, I know if I was a custody officer and I grew up with CDCR or any corrections department, and this is how we did what we did, and we just did what we did. Now all of a sudden they're saying program. I think that would be a little difficult for me to adjust to. How do you have rules and regulations, you have protocols, now all of this is changing. How many of the officers do you think this is a really difficult challenge for them, and how many are saying this is actually a good thing?
From the start, it was difficult for a lot of staff. I did 14 years at the California Correctional Center right down the hill from High Desert. So that was a lower level security. So I was a little more familiar with the programs. But up here as a level 4 institution, high security, it's difficult for the inmates who were trying to we get to do this, and how's it going to help me? And the staff are the same way. It's kind of difficult for them to, like you said, with custody and security, and all of a sudden now these guys are doing rehabilitative and self-help groups. It's a little bit different for these officers to adjust to that. It really is.
And for me, if I'm thinking I'm a corrections officer, or maybe I've been in SHU a long time, and now I'm here on this yard, and I'm thinking programming. My head's spinning. What does that mean for me? And then if I'm an officer, my head's spinning. Programming. What does that mean for me? To me, it feels like it would be like a perfect time for collision.
Yes.
Because you have different perspectives, different interpretations, not a lot of clarity. But really, I haven't seen, and I've been here at High Desert now since we launched Innovative Grants, I have not seen the clash that I thought I would experience. I've actually seen more respect for the officers and more support for programming from custody. Is that your experience as well?
Yes, it is.
How did that magically happen? Because you have two colliding forces, opposing forces, now that are somehow linked and collaborative. That's fascinating to me.
It really is hard to try to comprehend how these officers and inmates have come together as far as the programming.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It really is. I was amazed. having the lower level experience that I have, it was normal for me.
Right.
But coming up to high desert,
Right.
it was, we always heard the stories of high desert, you know, of,
Well, this was the end of the line. I mean, high
Yes.
desert was,
Yes.
if you failed everywhere, you were sent to high desert.
correct, correct.
That's kind of on the streets. The reputation is high desert. Really, who did you piss off?
Well,
you know.
Yeah, and being from CCC, that all the inmates knew that they wanted a program down there because they knew what was, you know, the high
Yes.
desert was right up the hill, and they didn't want to come
Right.
to a level 4 institution.
Right.
The officers and the inmates have just gone along really well. I've witnessed on our audio video surveillance system where officers and inmates are talking, not walking by, ignoring each other.
That never would have happened.
No, they're now communicating, and I've witnessed it myself. And it's
Wow.
being at my level, I'm not out on the line all the time.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
seeing it on video, I was actually amazed. I watched it this week, as a matter of fact,
Great.
an officer communicating with an inmate.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
It was amazing. It really was.
Yeah. GOGI's kind of lucky because we get to watch all this happen. You know, we
Right.
come in and we get to watch this happen. And so that collaboration with law enforcement and kind of a collaboration to make our neighborhoods safe is really,
That's huge.
yeah, and it's starting here, which I think is very fascinating.
It is. It really is. You know, it's, if you look at throughout our nation, the violence on the streets and the violence with criminals and police officers, I think is a big push for us here at High Desert, because these guys are going home.
Yeah.
Prop 57 and everything else, everybody's
Right.
has an opportunity to go home.
Yeah.
And so, me personally, and this is what I preach when I'm on the yard, is if you can help one person, you know, be a better person, one man on this yard be a better person, it's going to be better for us on the streets.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
these guys parole and they live in our neighborhoods,
Right.
you know, so this really is a good thing.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, I know, just as an aside, that you aren't real big on cameras and videos and stuff like that. But how
Right.
do you think this video went? How do you think this interview with us went?
Really good.
Do you think there's something else that you would want the people to know? Would you want other officers to know? Or would there be any message that you would want to give to anyone about what you see is the direction of corrections?
Rehabilitation is possible. It really
Cool.
is. Everybody needs to have the opportunity to change
Right.
and to prove that they can change.
Right.
Not just, the inmates are proud, you know, of their certificates, of
Yes.
every one of them preach to me what they've accomplished with all their
Really?
certificates. Yeah,
Oh, that's
it is. It's a huge, and GOGI's number one.
GOGI's
They're-
number one?
they're
Have
all-
they shown you the GOGI dance yet, though?
No,
Okay,
they have
so
not.
they're not totally GOGI unless they're brave enough to get out there.
I have not seen it yet. I might have to ask now.
How about the GOGI choir? You haven't heard them singing GOGI?
I have not heard that either.
Okay, well, at the very least, you should have them do their GOGI pledge for you, because it's a pledge of service to communities. We want them to focus on being the solution in their neighborhood. Not just worrying about themselves, but really taking care to make sure that their neighbors and their neighborhood are clean and
Yes.
supportive and collaborative, and that there's understanding. So make sure they say the pledge, and when you listen to that pledge, you can see that we are pledging them to a life of service, which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
That's the kind
really
of neighbor
good.
I want.
Yes, me too.
Captain, thank you so much. I know you got to get back to your yard. You got a lot of programming going on.
I do.
We're going to be out there a little bit later on today, so we'll come in and say hi.
All right, I'll see you out there.
Thank you very much, Captain.
you.
Appreciate it.